Hello everyone! Today is going to be a very fun video because I am giving you 20 hidden gem movies that a lot of people don't talk about, but if you are a movie buff, you already know these movies. Now, are some of these movies the best movie ever made? No, but I find a lot of these movies very comforting and I like them. To be fair, we are going to go in order of the year. So we're gonna bring it back to 1971. The first one is a movie called See No Evil. This movie came out again in 1971. It is a horror crime movie starring Mia Farrow. A young blind Sarah is staying with relatives in her English countryside manor. An unknown maniac enters the house and murders all of Sarah's relatives. When the culprit realizes that Sarah is still alive, he pursues her. Now, if you don't like this movie, another movie just like it is a movie called Wait Until Dark, and it stars Audrey Hepburn. All right, number 2, we're gonna move forward into the future. We're gonna jump to 1985. It is called Mask. Rocky Dennis is an intelligent, outgoing, and humorous teen who suffers from a facial deformity called Leonidas and has now outlived his life expectancy. While his mother, Rusty, who's played by Cher, struggles to fight for his acceptance in the public school system, he proves himself to be a highly accomplished student. Though Rocky endures ridicule for his appearance, he finds love and respect from his mother's biker gang family and even experiences his first love. There's a scene in this movie where he is talking to Laura Dern and she is blind and he's trying to explain colors to her, and I just sob every time I watch this movie. I think it's a important movie to watch. I believe it is based on a true story. All right, this 1987 crime drama movie is also a very emotional film. It is called Less Than Zero. Clay, played by Andrew McCarthy, comes home to Los Angeles after his first semester of college. His former lover, a model named Blair, has begun to abuse cocaine, but her addiction pales in comparison to the drug dependency of her new boyfriend, Julian, played by Robert Downey Jr., who's also Clay's childhood buddy. Clay tries to help them get sober, but the process is complicated by Rip, played by James Spader, a callous dealer Julian owes money to. Robert Downey Jr. in this movie, he plays this role so well. Watching a movie about addiction is always hard for me. Even though I know that these movies are a Hollywood take on addiction, I can still connect and resonate with them, just like this next one. It is 1988 comedy drama called Clean and Sober, starring Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. Hotshot real estate salesman Daryl has a bad cocaine habit. After embezzling his company's money, he wakes up to a girl who's overdosed. To hide from the police, he checks into a rehab program under the mentorship of Counselor Craig, played by Morgan Freeman. Daryl accepts that he has a substance abuse problem. As he falls in love with fellow patient Charlie, played by Kathy Baker, Daryl begins committing to a newly sober life. A really good movie. It does have comedic aspects to it, but it's mostly a drama-based film. This next one is also a very hard watch. It has a SA scene in it. View with caution. So this next one is the same year, 1988. It is a thriller crime movie called The Accused. Out drinking one night after a fight with her boyfriend, 3 men brutally rape Sarah in a bar while people watch and cheer. District Attorney Catherine Murphy takes the case. However, she allows the rapist to receive a mild sentence. A distraught Sarah decides to seek punishment for the men who witness and encourage the rape. To get justice, Sarah must take the stand and revisit the night of her attacks. Although this movie is so hard to watch, I think it's very important. A message for a lot of people: if you see something that's awful and wrong, speak up and don't let the bad guys get away with it. All right, number 6. I think this one is a very fun movie, although it is a horror thriller movie. It is 1990 Ali Sheedy movie called Fear. Now, there is another movie called Fear that came out in 1996 that stars Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon. I love both. But I feel like this fear is a little bit more less known. A psychic writer, Ali Sheedy, helps the police hunt a serial killer whose own psychic link locks her mind to his. This movie is so fun, although it is thrilling. We see two people who are psychic battle each other. Love it. This next one is also a thriller mystery. It is 1996 movie called Oxygen, and this movie freaked me out as a kid. When housewife Frances is abducted and buried alive, Detective Madeline Foster is brought in. With only 24 hours before Frances's oxygen runs out, Madeline pursues the trail led by a killer calling himself Harry Houdini, played by Adrian Brody. After capturing him, Madeline brings Harry back to the police station, but is unable to get him to confess where Frances is buried. As time runs down, Harry gets inside the head of unstable alcoholic Madeline. There is a scene in this movie where Adrian Brody has braces and he is handcuffed and he's able to use a wire from his braces to get out. That scene always stuck with me growing up. So every time I see Adrian Brody, I just think of this scene. This next movie is called If These Walls Could Talk. I actually have it on VHS. It's up here, but it is a movie about 3 stories portraying women coping with unplanned pregnancies in various social climates, including the 50s, 70s, and 90s. This movie is honestly packed with stars, and it's also a movie in 1996 where, spoiler alert, Matthew Lillard plays a killer. Number 9, Stigmata, horror drama movie that I recently watched and it blew my mind. It's such Y2K vibes. I love it. Also, I'm a huge fan of Patricia Arquette, who I met at Texas Frightmare a couple months ago. A young woman with no strong religious beliefs, Frankie Page begins having strange and violent experiences, showing signs of the wounds that Jesus received when crucified. When the Vatican gets word of Frankie's situation, a high-ranking cardinal requests that a reverend investigate her case. Soon, they realize that very sinister forces are at work and tries to rescue Frankie from the entity that is plaguing her. All right, this next one I just love. 2001, a movie called Rockstar. I don't know anyone that has seen this movie, a personal comfort movie of mine. Lead singer of a tribute band becomes lead singer of the real band he idolizes. A comedy set in the world of 80s rock and roll. This movie stars Mark Wahlberg and Jennifer Aniston. A lot of people say this movie's bad, but I think it is good. Next movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is called Taking Lives, 2004 thriller crime movie. Angelina Jolie, Ethan Hawke. What more could I ask for? A serial killer is impersonating his victims' identities as he travels across Canada. A recent bat of murders in Montreal has brought FBI agent Miss Scott, played by Angelina Jolie, north to investigate. Scott's unusual methods quickly earned the suspicion of the local police that brought her close to art dealer James Costa, played by Ethan Hawke, who says he was an eyewitness to the latest murder. Sparks develop between the two as Costa's role becomes crucial in their efforts to apprehend the killer. Just a really good crime thriller, and the acting is the best part of this film, along with the storyline. All right, number 12, it is a movie called Closer, 2004 romance drama, another star-packed movie. The relationships of two couples become complicated and deceitful when the man from one couple meets the woman of the other. It examines the destructive, selfish, and often dishonest nature of relationships when characters constantly shift between obsession and apathy. ultimately showing how the need for the truth can just be as damaging as lies. We have a lot for 2004. This next one is a movie called Paparazzi. A rising Hollywood actor decides to take personal revenge against a group of four persistent photographers to make them pay for almost causing a personal tragedy involving his wife and son. One of my favorite action thrillers of all time, and it has Cole from Yellowstone in it. Number 14 is a movie called Cellular. So funny because, cell phones, but cellular, that's what they used to call it. Action thriller starring Chris Evans. A young man receives an emergency phone call on his cell phone from an older woman. The catch? The woman claims to have been kidnapped, and the kidnappers have targeted her husband and child next. 15. 2005 action thriller, martial arts, a movie called Unleashed. The movie stars Jet Li and Morgan Freeman, a man enslaved by the mob since childhood and raised into behaving like a human attack dog, escapes his captors and attempts to start a new life. A more darker action thriller, but I still enjoy this movie. My brother watched this a lot growing up. 2007. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is called Invisible. It is also a thriller mystery movie. After an attack leaves him in limbo, invisible to the living, but also near death, a teenager discovers the only person who might be able to help him is his assailant. I love the storyline, very original. A teenage boy whose body is going to die while getting the help of the person who has a little bit involvement into his almost near death. It's a solid movie. Number 17, this 2010 movie called Conviction is one of the best based on a true stories crime thriller ever. When her older brother Kenny, played by Sam Rockwell, is convicted of murder and sentenced to life in 1983, Betty Ann Waters, played by Hilary Swank, vows to get the conviction overturned. Beginning an 18-year quest to exonerate Kenny, Betty Ann puts herself through college and law school. With the help of her best friend, Betty Ann pores over piles of suspicious evidence and retraces the steps that leads to Kenny's arrest in the hope of finally winning her brother's freedom. What's even sadder, I looked into this case, and what happens after the movie is even more sad. I don't want to give too much away because I highly recommend you watch this movie, and then I want you to Google what happened after this movie came out. And another thing is, if my brother was ever in this situation, you bet your ass I'm going to college, I'm going to law school if no one else is going to help him. If I know he absolutely did not commit a crime. All right, number 18, we're almost finished. This movie is called The Way, Way Back, 2013. Comedy drama. I think it's a indie film also. Duncan, played by Liam James, who was in my favorite show of all time called The Killing, highly recommend that one, is an awkward teen who must spend the summer at a beach house with his mother, played by Toni Collette, her boyfriend Trent, played by Steve Carell, and Trent's obnoxious daughter. Trent can't resist badgering Duncan, so the youth spends most of his time at a water park and gets a job that will help him stay off Trent's radar. As Duncan tends to the slides and pools of the aging park, he finds a father figure in Owen, played by Sam Rockwell, at a time when he desperately needs one. Such a really good coming of age film. Number 19 is another hard movie to watch. This movie is called Rudderless. It came out in 2014. A grieving father finds a box of demo tapes made by his now dead son. He forms a band in hopes of finding some peace. This movie is directed by William H. Macy. A really, really good movie. Very well done. The acting is phenomenal. I believe it won something to do with Sundance Festival. But yes, this movie is called Rudderless. Up next for number 20 is a movie called Morgan. This is the last movie I'm going to talk about. It is 2016 sci-fi horror film. This is the first Anna Taylor-Joy movie that I've ever seen, and when I saw her in this movie, I said, "That girl's gonna be a star," and I was right. Morgan, played by Taylor-Joy, is a bioengineered child who began walking and talking after 1 month of existence, exceeding the wild expectations of her creators. When Morgan attacks one of her handlers, a corporate troubleshooter, played by Kate Mara, visits the remote, top-secret facility where she's kept to assist the risk of keeping her alive. When the girl breaks free and starts running, the staff members find themselves in a dangerous lockdown with an unpredictable and violent synthetic human. But this was the first movie I saw of her in it. She just kills it in this movie. But yeah, let me know if you guys want a part 2, if you want me to do more movies that are really good but not as popular, because I have more. I was going to do 35, but I said let's start out with 20. But yeah, let me know if you guys have seen any of these movies. If you want me to do a part 2, just let me know in the comments down below. Please subscribe if you want to see more of my content. As always, please stay safe out there, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.